You are deeply in love with the most beautiful girl in the room, but when you finally get up your courage and run to give her a love letter and tell her how much you love her, you come across something very unexpected. The waifu is a vampire. It begins in the classroom where we see a group of friends playing cards quietly. There we see that this young man loses the game since his expressions are very easy to read. You will ask why they call him that. Well, you will know. This is a high school student who is doing well in his life. However, people cannot fully trust him since he cannot bear any secret that you tell him, and he always reveals it, that not even he himself can bear his own secrets. Where you do this in a person rejected by many except for his friends, who are always supporting him, and people that are true compass. But well, despite his way of being, the kid has a secret that no one knows yet, and since last summer the PR protagonist has his sights on a very beautiful UEFA who attends his class. This girl is called Yoko Oifu, who spends most of her time alone, and even at lunchtime she is alone, and she doesn't talk to any of the girls. In addition, this is very mysterious since she always arrives first at the institute very early in the hours, and she is also the last to leave the place when it is about to get dark. Things that make the protagonist interested in her, and he is deeply in love with the girl, but obviously for fear of being rejected, he does not confess to her, and well, being in English class while you watch him, UEFA exchanges glances with him, which makes the protagonist panic, and ask his friend something very useless about the class, which ends up making a fuss, and the teacher gets upset and people already wanted to beat him up. However, the hall representative calms the situation and everything. They continue with their class, and well, once the sports class is over, Sasachi is the only girl who's away from the others without doing activities, something that continues to seem strange to the protagonist. So well, later that same day, she joins her friends where the guy with the glasses asks her when the day will be, when the protagonist, the waifu, is declared to him. No people, they already found out. Well, we see that Asachi panics and begins to deny that he is in love with the waifu, to which this brings to light that he has loved her since last summer. Realizing that not even he, the kid, can hide his love, well, we can see that Oka tells him that he must hurry to declare his love, because otherwise the same thing will happen to him as with the delegate, and it's that good. The waifu realized that the protagonist was calling since he looked at her. Well, this was a lot, and well before the waifu declared his love for him. Well, he rejected it, leaving the ridiculous, something for which the baby suffered for many weeks. People came to use him. Well, now the protagonist thinks that it is not an option to give up, and that he should face a fear, so he runs into the living room to declare his love to Yoko. But when he takes with her, you see that the Hua has tremendous souls and fangs, and let's see what the hell happened here. Well, the Wii Fi is surprised and asks him if it is that he looked at her, where the kid tries to say, but well, he ends up failing, so you tell him that he did look at her, but he was not scared, that he is simply surprised, where Yoko tells him her secret, and it is that she does not talk to others, because and she gets excited. She starts talking too much, and her fangs come out, and she doesn't play sports because her skin tans a lot, so it would be strange if she's always tanned every day. But now that he knows her secret, he should leave school since he made a promise with his father that if someone found out he would have to leave the place. And well, while UEFA tells him this, the protagonist begins to get depressed, and tells him that despite being one-armed to keep secrets, this yes, she would keep it with all her soul. Besides, she asks to be her friend. She doesn't even expect that. The plans weren't there, kid. What is this? We see that the Wi-Fi is very surprised, and ends up accepting her proposal, thus becoming a friend of the protagonist. But while this is happening, they return home. A girl is watching them with some kind of camera, and well, while they walk, Nazaji tells the waifu that the best of it will be left to keep his secrets, something to which the girl responds, he must try too hard, because if his secrets are revealed by him there would be no problem, and well, she would feel happy if he was the one to say it. Also, thanks to the effort he makes not to reveal anything, he has given her the opportunity to continue with her school life so reliably in him. But well, this is not they are alone, since the delegate sees them together again, and the next day, the protagonist's compass asks him how it went with his waifu position, hoping that the protagonist has obviously left rejected, where the kid tells them that things did not turn out as expected, and that now Yoko is her friend. which, as I told them, leaves her friends quite surprised since the outbreak is easy to read, they realize that she is not lying, and well, that is how the class begins. Inaguiza, the hall representative, stays watching, staring at the main character, where she says she is worried about him, and there we see a flashback from last summer at the exact moment when Sachi was going to confess his love to Nasa, but she literally killed him with all the words she sighed to him. Well, good, tell him that he was not interested in him, and that he should choose another path. Well, it worked, since months later Yoko arrived at the institute. A guy was the one the main character obviously fell in love with, but no one starts showing movies since, not knowing what the main character wanted to say at that moment. She was quite worried since it would be the first time that a boy was going to confess to her, and she is good. She did not allow it. She is a girl, realized that she wants to be with the kid, because now she is with a tremendous vampire. Well, we see that no one confronts him when leaving class, where the question is what he wanted to say to the protagonist last summer. But the Wi-Fi does not let him think, and one asks him if he was in love with her, leaving us all surprised. Something that the brutal responds with complete sincerity, saying yes, which for some reason annoys the waifu since her friends appear and say that it is a lover's fight, where she begins to say bad words to the main character, killing her feelings and people. Again, this girl has no consideration for the kid, and well, later Anasachi meets with the UEF, a vampire, and once she's finished eating, well, she wants some dessert, where the main character bumps into her, and some pretty weird desserts come out that he hadn't brought, but Yoko couldn't care less, and she tried one that was very spicy, which made her go crazy. And that's when nobody knows that the Wi-Fi had a room. Yes, no people. Vs. Ekrit was really worth it. Well, one that out of nowhere panics, and the strangest thing here is that a smaller analysis of his head appears. Yes, people, that weird, where he asks what planet he comes from, and what intergalactic service he belongs to, where he accidentally reveals his secret that he is an alien. But people, it seems that our protagonist, he is a magnet for weird waifu, and people, this is very bad since the protagonist knows the secrets, and nobody knows that the kid is one-armed keeping secrets. He decides to erase the memory of a madrazo, but the outbreak is protected by Yoko, where Nasa is given realize that in reality they both love each other, and that Sashi is really doing everything possible to hide his secret, so trust him. And well, on the other hand, the protagonist's Compassa in trouble since the evil queen has captured them, and well, the president of the institute and Azaki's childhood best friend is Wi-Fi. However, she wants to have a scoop about what the protagonist has with Yoko, where Sachi begins to escape from the waifu, but she captures him with a hose, where she begins to attack him. Questioning, we see that the protagonist remains firm, but the girl takes out a recorder where she shows a conversation to both of them. They were alone, which leaves the journalist thinking dirty, and well, and the protagonist realizes that it was the waifu who left the desserts, and between they were hiding the recorder. There are people complaining about fruit. Well, he tells Quamold that if he does not get information from him, you will have to look for him in Yoko. But the protagonist goes to he living room, and when he arrives he does not find Yoko, but the teacher tells him that the Wi-Fi is no, he went to class because he had a cold. So he gives him some class notes that he should deliver to his house. Although, well, the boy continues to be persecuted by the girl, but that's when the representative comes out and confronts the waifu, so that the kid took the notes to Yoko, who did it successfully. But in the end Quamold manages to get to the waifu's house, but he can't get any information since he opens the closet, and a lot of the waifu's belongings and on top, and for being an __, sorry for interfering, but despite the fact that she could not obtain information, she creates a false story that worries me even more. But Kaylee says that the more he annoys Quamold, he will be happier because he knows that he is hurting him. So the protagonist tells him that she doesn't care what she publishes and what would make her happy, which leaves the wife is surprised and manages to defeat her for the moment. Although later we see her talking with her glasses, which seem to be like a goddess who can fulfill the wishes that she wants, but people really explode that they are surrounded by crazy waifus, and well, the next morning nothing if they do not show up for classes, something that seems strange to the protagonist, but in that the kid receives a small blow, and when he looks around he realizes that the representative is in his small form, and well, the main character puts a lie in which he has to go to the bathroom for 2 so he is allowed to leave where S speaks with the delegate where well, she tells him when she was going to recharge her battery her robot she heard a somewhat perverse conversation on the part of Azachi and the UEF, a vampire although in the end everything was misunderstood, and they talked about a DVD but due to this issue she could not recharge her battery and it was turned off so she asks the protagonist for help, where the kid should go into the women's bathroom to remove his body something that blushes the waifu since she feels that the kid is carrying her, and well, that is, he literally does it and well, on the way the infirmary meets Yuko who finds out about the situation and help us to reach the destination. There they put his body to load and well everything is cool, but when they are going to leave no one. It is a figure of the waifu that begins to impress her, in addition to reaching a rather filthy friend of the protagonist where she begins to say that they should undress the figure since it looks very realistic and not people. This is getting more and more complicated, where the protagonist he has no choice but to lie saying that he was. I imagine he created the figure where they take an eagle while everyone chases him. We see that Sachi is hiding in a warehouse where he talks with the waifu and comes up with a plan to remain hidden, but when he tries to lock the door with a big sack, a girl with horns activates a power that puts nobody that big weight. How good this makes things even worse, where Sachi tells her to hit him, and that way he could save her what the Wi-Fi ago, and everyone is surprised since the girl says that she heard the rumor of a figure of hers and that she found out that it was the degenerate of the protagonist. So well, he gave her a lesson in boss people for the protagonist. After this mess, the waifu returns to normal but this time it seems to be completely in love with the main character, which makes her feel very bad. Is that she rejected him at the time and come on people. I mean, she's jealous of the succulent vamp and well, on a rainy day she explodes. She finds herself a bit where he tells her that she shouldn't be out at that time, since the sun could hurt her, but the girl tells her that there is no problem since the day will be rainy but in the same way, the ultraviolet rays pass through the clouds, and makes her tan where no one is woo, and she sees the situation tells her that she will be her instructor so that she faces the solar enemy, where she begins to carry out strong practices, so that she bought the solar rays, although she really ends up being completely tanned, despite the fact that she tells him that she is doing everything well and well people are something stupid. The little vampire and good passed on the day the protagonist, while on his way to school, meets Yoko standing next to an expanding machine where it is hidden from the sun, and there they meet where UEF-8 does its last training to try to avoid as much as possible in the sun's rays for what Yoko begins to walk in a very strange way through all the streets of the place, although in the end they come across a bridge that is impossible to cover the sun where there the waifu gives up and says that there is no problem and that she should live with that problem that some of the vampires. However, the protagonist asks if I use sunscreen, to which the girl tells her that it was supposedly used, but in reality it was a lie, and she had never tried it so now she can go out worry-free without speaking out, and people look this had not occurred to him, and well now without worries the waifu goes out with Kai to an amusement park where they would really meet Nasa since Yoko thinks that the protagonist is in love with Nagisa and wants to help him match them up. But it is really the opposite. But hey, they also spend the day together, although that happiness can be ruined since a subject talks to this boy where he says that he must attend the institute where the waifu and watch that his secrets have not been revealed, where the kid tells him that if his secrets it is revealed to the waifu, it will be his. He waits, who the hell is this guy? And well, while they walk back home after a fun day, the Wi-Fi runs into the guy we saw a few seconds ago. This kid is the werewolf childhood friend of the waifu, which, seeing that the protagonist was not surprised by his fame versus deduces that he knows the secret of their existence, where Asachi confronts him and tries to hide the truth. But everything changes out of nowhere when the kid sees the moon and shows his true transformation, becoming a sensual waifu. Wait, how good this waifu is called Jijo, and she, the true childhood friend of the waifu, and her appearance changes every time she sees the moon, saying that her man form is the one she really wants to take the waifu, so they should not worry since she does not pay attention to the ideas that Yoko's father has. But the problem is that the sensual wolf is good, extra hyper mega filthy, something that would be good for many but for our protagonist well gives him a nosebleed every 5 seconds, where we see that Yoko takes Loloba to her house where they talk there for a while and the protagonist knows more about the girl, although she begins to seduce him a lot, which makes Yoko somewhat jealous, and begins to avoid everything, and even transforms the girl with a new name, just by sending a photo of the moon. But a daughter goes to Yoko's house with a cake to apologize for standing up on the invitation he gave her. But when she gets home she notes a bright light, and it's once again, UEFA was transformed since the foot of the wolf wanted to kill the main character, so it was good that they had to make the change, which left Laloba Conchi a rather succulent position. They stopped at a good moment until Laloba realized something, and sent the protagonist to sleep with a country attack. Daro said, "I also want to faint like that." They're the feelings that exist between the two of them, so the girl leaves the place well, although the next day she enters the institute as an exchange student, where Sachi meets Yoko, where he asks her what happened to her nose since the good kid has it a little red from the nosebleeds that Loba caused him, and while they are talking, the protagonist says that there couldn't be anything weirder at school, when out of nowhere a horned loli appears eating sweets like it was nothing around the place, and both are impressed, and begin to follow her, where I think the girl is pretty while the protagonist is wondering if those horns are real or not. In that Yoko talks to the girl where she asks her to caress your head, and there the protagonist asks him if those horns are real. Here the waifu drastically changes his aura, but he tells him that they are a lie, in addition to finding out which relative of the teacher, and when UEFA was retiring, the protagonist realizes that this, in addition to all this, has a tail, although when blinking, she no longer sees it, and in that we see that Loli only has fun with them, and that's when the sensei appears, taking her by the horns and tells her to stop doing and exciting the students, in addition to tell her great-great-grandmother, wait, how? Yes, people, like you heard, Loli is the director and great-great-grandmother of the teacher, and wherever they see her they have thousands of years of life. Besides that, she is a demon lover of sweets, but at the same time she likes to do evil things to the students, and she obviously already knows Yokon's secret that he is a vampire, and that there is also a waifu alien and Laloba pervertida, and people already know all of it, and it's good thanks to her that they were admitted where I was with the shirt to annoy her because of her size, telling her that only a girl bothers her grandmother, and makes the place tremble, and they're both waifus challenge each other to a duel where she was more sensual. She will be the winner, and the judge will be our protagonist, where UEFA will give her the strongest nosebleed would be the winner, but Laloba participates in the contest, where she wins easily with all the provocative poses she does, while the other two girls only make them sad with their attempt at sensuality of people, and the boss for them, the teacher tells the buds that she knows that he keeps Yoko's secret, and that makes him happy, since it seems sad to see how one of his students would have to leave for the simple fact that his secret's rebel. But while these speak the waifus, they continue with their duel that gets out of control, and they exploit the place. On the other hand, Asachi suffers from a cold that does not allow him to go to classes, so he must repeat cooking classes with the girls, something that can be paradise for many, but in reality it could be the opposite with the attitude of each one, and especially with this Wi-Fi that looks like a microwave at maximum power. There the teacher tells them that they should be the best possible curry, and that the director would come later to try the dish. There nobody knows decides to follow a recipe to the letter, where each step goes perfectly, but the final result is the opposite of a curry dish, since it ends up being a chocolate cake. However, Yoko loves it, but in an oversight accidentally throws it out the window, where the director falls on a horn, which tastes the cake and is fascinated by the result. But since this was not the dish, they start to do it without a prescription, and in the end they end up doing an operation where as night falls, the principal enters a demonic state, where the next day's teacher takes her to the kitchen room, where she tells everyone that they must recreate the cake that Nasa made, since grandma can't get it out of her head. And at this moment I swear to destroy the earth, where a meteorite has been controlling a high speed, and no people, this is very intense. We see that the Wi-Fi begin to make the cake, but no one is with all the pressure, they cannot, where the grandmother, when she saw some chocolates that she had, in fact, he gets excited, but when the meteorite loses concentration it changes course, so the teacher realizes, and while no one knows how to make his cake, the others would be giving him disgusting food until they like a daughter. That's it, grandma is ready. This is a strategy of the teacher, because if she loses consciousness, the land is saved, where after enduring almost 3 hours of disgusting suffering, the Wi-Fi ends up fainting, and people on the land save. What an offer. Well, then the protagonist meets his friend Oka, who tells him that he should invite Yoko to the pool, so Asachi plucks up his courage, and goes to her to invite her. Although in the end things do not turn out as expected, and they all end up going to the pool, well at least there is the waifu. Although both they don't know how to swim, they decide to learn together where nobody becomes an instructor for a long time, until only the two of them are left practicing together all afternoon, and well, while their friends see them having fun, it is heard that the park will be closed in 30 minutes where Yoko told him he says something in the ear of the protagonist, and while they all leave together, both Yoko and Asachi tell the group that they have an emergency and they leave the place, which makes it clear to everyone that they will both be seen together since they are very bad lying. Well, the protagonist is with the waifu where he is. He took a secret entrance to the school pool, where they both continue to practice there, and UEFA takes the opportunity to tell him that she knows about that entrance thanks to her mother, and it's that good. When her mother found out that her father was vampire, they went through very difficult times to hide the secret. However, at those moments they were full of fun. In addition to that, in that same pool, they both practiced and learned to swim, where Yoko also tells her that she has always been alone, and that her life at school it is nothing similar to what his human mother experienced, but thanks to the protagonist he was able to make his life change and meet more people. So now he was very happy and good people. All this makes this beautiful couple begin to get a little closer, where the director with her power can see friends, and makes them remember the parents of the waifu when they were there, and that from that moment an unforgettable love arose between them. The object that history can be repeated again, people, and good. In a change of scene we see here my problems, since she lost her glasses, which are very valuable to her. So even Chili finds out about the situation, decides to help her find her glasses together with Yuka, and finances. However, Najasaya Kemi run into the director who owns the glasses, and begins to play with them, running throughout the institute, where at first he throws many glasses, but it is difficult for them to find the real one, although clearly she has them on, and then she takes out several clones of glasses, although in the end he realizes and puts glasses on the clones, where she begins to flee, but in the end she is caught by the teacher, who takes her glasses off and gives them to Kemi, and then gives the director and boss a good rampage for her. Well, then she talks to me with her glasses, but one who knows he listens to the GL asses speak for, which the water and force takes it, and explains the situation, where he tells him that those glasses were a pet gift, and that when he entered high school, a god of fortune possessed the glasses, but since then the waifu USA had this fame explodes, so the glasses are a kind of mask that allows them to see the baby's face, and well, there they realize that Yoko and they arrive at the place, but when they see that the Wi-Fi struggles with her feelings not to look at him, she begins to distract each other. That's where everything gets very weird. So no one is healthy, that if he put them on he would say out loud that he loved Asachi, but God was wrong, and did not realize that the glasses were on the delegate, and well people, this is how the summer festival arrives, where Yoko planned a group outing, but in reality it was a trap for them to spend the day together. Nobody knew there, and these having had the previous situation, so there is an atmosphere of discomfort between the two. However, the protagonist tries to encourage the waifu by taking her to various festival stands, but while they are buying some ice cream he reveals her position for being very gluttonous, and they begin to persecute her, but no one trips, and Asachi, the algae falling, is on top of him, which leaves Yoko surprised, as she realizes that she has feelings for the main character, but since she is still so blocked, does not accept it, while nobody accepts that he really asks, and well people in classes the protocol, but this is in the principal's room, where the grandmother begins to bother her, transforming into the prota, and causing the Wi-Fi to reveal her feelings towards he. However, the teacher finds her and gives her a few blows to make her go, wherein that the real Asachi appears. She tries to talk to the waifu, but he tells her that he has plans with Laloba, and leaves, and the next morning Yoko begins to act differently, and he avoids the protagonist over and over and over again, but his friends support him, and tell him to go look for the girl, where the delegate list ends to the conversation, so he decides to apologize to Yoko first, but on the way he ran into the director. The witch has a photo of the day of the accident with the protagonist where the teacher appears and gives what she deserves to the grandmother, and then Nike takes a photo and tries to destroy it but is trapped since both stairs come known as the journalist and the prota. There a mess broke out and the photo is revealed. However, the Wi-Fi takes some ice creams from I don't know where the hell and you leave the same protas, which hangs it on the wall, but just at that moment Yoko looks at the situation and misinterprets it, and no, but sometimes this is worse people. This is how the day goes by, and the protagonist tries to talk to Yoko where he is. He tells him that he wants to see him on the roof, where the protagonist tells his friends that, and they tell him that he should declare himself since his last chance. However, Nike listens to everything, since Me tells her that she must fight for what she really wants. I already declared that she loves him, but the protagonist doesn't care about anything and begins to avoid all the barriers that the Wi-Fi puts up for her, since she is also afraid that if they are both a couple they will have to stop being games. So when the protagonist arrives at the door to the roof, he realizes that there is an obstacle, but despite that the boy begins to climb and says that he will fight for the girl he likes. But when he opens the door he notices how a giant bat is being taken away. No, what is it happening? Immediately, she realizes that Choco's father had already found out about the situation and that he came for her. But the kid asks Nisa for help so they can get the waifu back and the protagonist, we're really good. That's how, with the help of the teacher and director, they arrive at Yoko's house, where no one is infiltrated there by those Lobo YL Prota, where they are intercepted by a huge guy, who is Yoko's father, and no people they don't pass by. We see that the protagonist tells him that he is coming for his daughter, which the old man misunderstands, and makes him turn on the mother where Sachi Tomakoko, and flees with her and the others. But the Wi-Fi tells him that all his misunderstanding since she went to take care of his mother, who had a cold, and not people who failed. But inadvertently the protagonist says that he thought that the father knew that he knew the secret of the thing that the old man heard, and it makes everything even worse, where Sachi escapes with the Wi-Fi while they are chasing him, but Yoko manages to get into her room with the protagonist, which is protected by a barrier so that her parents cannot enter without her permission. But since the old man wanted to enter by force, his wife appears, who easily dominates him, and later they have an audience with him where the protagonist tells him everything, and says that it is a misunderstanding, and that he is willing to have his memory erased with a hammer blow, since in this way he would continue protecting Yoko's secret as well. He had been doing something that makes him Yoko's father sees himself among them, since the same thing happened to him where he was in Chile. He asks that if he keeps his promise to erase his memory, the old man must let the waifu go to school, which he accepts, but Yoko does not. She allows it, and when she pushes the main character and says some very nice words to him, her parents fall to the ground and make the hammer fly, and they hit her forehead, and I'm sorry but I have to laugh, and that's how the whole mess ended. The teacher arrives to pick them up where the father and Yoko allow her to return to school since they can see that her daughter is in good hands and that she was always protected by our protagonist, who now only has to muster the courage to tell them once